Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 6, verse number 15. Yunjan evam sada atmanam yogi niyat manasaha shantim nirvana paramam mata sanstham adhigacchati. Under the last class, we embarked upon the verse number 14. We were trying to ascertain the objective of one's meditation. When you close your eyes with all requisite preparation at the level of your thoughts and the posture and the seat beneath, what next? The moment you immerse within yourself, the objective has to be very precise. The point of concentration has been well determined by the great masters between the eyebrows, at the middle, at the center of the eyebrows. The idea for that which was given is that you are neither outward nor inward, neither engrossed into the life and happenings and occurrences of the outside world, nor you are indulged into the distortions and disturbances of the inside world within. So there has to be a threshold where both the worlds, inside and outside, do not come as an interference. Therefore, the center, the middle of the eyebrows has been determined as the point where one has to concentrate, one has to contemplate. But what should be the objective? Last time it was mentioned that the great masters of the ancient times have not confined, have not created any confinement for the seeker, that one has to merely take objective in the form of an idol, a specific idol, or a sound, or a mantra, or some kind of an imagination, maybe of light. They have not limited the seeker into confinements. They have left the seeker open to determine and find for one's own self, by discovery, by experiment, what goes best with one. Because each and every single human being manifested on this planet with a special distinction. Therefore, one must unravel one's own peculiar distinction within and find out with experiment. Because the life is here to experience, and experience comes with experiment. And under the spiritual parlance, one must experience through experiments, during which you will find certain things going with you, certain things are not going with you. So the point of meditation, the objective of meditation was merely indicated last time in the verse number 14 as manchita matparaha. Become submitted to me and then focus upon me. Take me as the objective of meditation, your dhyana. But that me was not defined. It was left blank, left for the seeker to ascertain. This verse takes a step further. It might be that one is not able to yet ascertain for one's own self what should be the objective of my meditation. After I close my eyes, what next? I am not able to focus upon a rising sun. I am not able to focus upon the mountains. I am not able to focus upon a mantra. I am not able to focus upon a sound. I am not able to focus upon a picture of an guru or an idol. Nothing goes with me. What next? Does it mean that if nothing goes with me, I am not able to stay with either of them? Then what is my course of action? How do I take my pursuit further? For that, this particular verse is a landmark that resolves the problems of all seeker who by any chance are not able to determine the precise objective of their meditation. What next after closing your eyes? What next after focusing upon the middle of the eyebrows? What next? It has made a mention under the word Atmanam Yogi Niyatam Manasaha. Atmanam. The word Atmanam, I am writing it in English here, Atmanam. Atmanam. It's trying to resolve this question, the indicator as be submitted upon me and focus upon me. What is that me? What is that it? It wants to give you a detail upon the it if you're not able to find your own detail. And this is something without any defiance. You cannot defy this resolve. This is such a resolve which is immutable. Atmana means self. It says that you try and focus upon your own self, because each individual is born, B-O-R-N-E, born with a self that bears the infinitesimal spark of the divinity within itself. We all are a manifestation of the divinity. We all have that spark within us. And that is the spark which we try to unravel through our all spiritual practices, which is called as self-realization. Trying to realize the self, because self itself has a manifestation, a tiny spark, maybe infinitesimal, of the divinity that pervades everywhere, all pervasive. The highest consciousness has got its presence, its signatures in the deeper aspects of each self. So the shlok says, if you're not able to stay, it literally does not mean that, but I am gathering in inference, in interpretation of it, because under Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we also try to draw inference through the interpretation that goes mostly into the consonance with the prevailing times, because times are prone to change. Minds change, practices change, way of life changes. So therefore, the inference has to be in total consonance with the prevailing times. In today's times, I draw an inference, I draw an interpretation that it indicates me, I am also a seeker. That if you're not able to ascertain and establish precise objective for your meditation, come down upon your own self. Atmanam yogi niyatmanasaha. Yogi means one who is upon the pursuit to enjoin, to connect the limited with the limitless. The connectivity, the process of connectivity of a limited existence to the limitless one is yoga. Yoga means to enjoin, to submerge into the limitless. Atmanam yogi niyata manasaha. Niyata manasa means a regulated mind. A regulated mind. With a regulated mind, you have to focus upon yourself if you are not able to find out any other resolve as the point of your meditation, objective of your meditation. Come down upon yourself. Now the question starts. Okay, that means that I have to focus upon myself. Taking the light from here, now let us interpret it into activity. I sit down as prescribed by the text. I acquire the posture as prescribed by the text. I have that seat beneath as prescribed by the text. I start focusing upon the middle of my eyebrows as prescribed in the text. And I also want to now further and focus upon my own self as prescribed by the text. But how do I take the action? What is the next activity? Here comes the detail. Focusing upon yourself is to first of all draw attention upon self. Second is evaluate, introspect the self. I-N-T-R-O-S-P-E-C-T. The words may have jumbled while writing, so therefore I spell them for the convenience. Evaluate or introspect the self. How do I do so? I have closed my eyes. I am sitting here to meditate upon. I was told that I would be transcending into the state of ecstasy, whereas here it is some sort of a mathematical procedure which has been now prescribed to me. Understand it. The idea is to enjoin your limited existence with the limitless. And this is the most easiest procedure to acquire the state of a yogi in meditation. And the beginning has to be by focusing upon yourself. And how do you do so? You pay attention upon yourself. How do you pay your attention upon yourself, and how do you assess, evaluate, or introspect yourself? By focusing upon the life that you have lived, life of a day. The life that you have spent during any day is termed as a Jivan Din in Hindi, which means that each and every day is like a drop in an ocean. The entirety of the ocean is reflected into a drop. Likewise, you live the entire life. A day is also an intrinsic part of it. So try to cite your entire day, one that you have already spent. See all occurrences, observe them as a distant observer. Distance yourself from all those occurrences and merely observe them. How and when and what transpired? How and when, in which form did you respond or react? Did you aptly respond or you abruptly reacted? That is the fine line, that is the discrimination, that is the distinguishing line that you have to draw between an apt response, between an abrupt reaction. That's where you will understand and unravel how you generally respond, how you behave, how you conduct yourself. That is one kind of an analysis of your superficial self, which has got its roots within the instincts and impulses that ultimately trigger your responses. Each response that you extend to the world outside, situation outside, subjects outside, people outside, owes its origin from your conscious and your subconscious mind. Each and every response that you give. And here you have to unravel them, synthesize them, dissect them, and find out where what went wrong. The third stage is correction. And then making one's own self realize that I must correct myself. On specific situations, subjects and people, I do not aptly respond, rather I abruptly react. This correction must happen into me. It is not an event of a moment or a day. The change does not come within a day. Through countless failures and covering this arduous journey, one graduates at the end of one's own understanding. Evolution is not something which is instantaneous. It comes through countless failures. I must even take the liberty to say that in the spiritual evolution of a human being, there is no word which means failure. Each and every act is for evolution. You may have to take a step backward. You may have to expose yourself or undergo and experience some karmic bondage, baggage, but yet the ultimate fundamental, that is the rider, is that one has to ultimately evolve. That is how the system has been programmed by the cosmic intelligence. Each one of us is destined to evolve and emancipate. Here under this verse, let me reiterate, because we haven't deflected, we are in service to this verse, to the understanding of the verse. It establishes that try to focus upon your own self through any day that you've spent and try to recall this experience each day. Recall the entire day, the entire movie that scrolls before your notices. See how each and everything unfolded. Focus upon those spots where correction is necessary. Remind yourself for that due correction. And if you have not been able to correct yourself, remind yourself again and again and again, so that wherever the roots of that fault may lie, however deeper that may be, if you start unraveling yourself again and again, recalling, reiterating, you certainly peel off all the layers and get down to the bottom of that impurity, contamination, or the fault, where from each time it impulsively arises to change an apt response into an abrupt reaction. This is meditation. This is yoga. I know that mostly with the understanding that we behold about meditation and yoga, one generally takes it as some ecstasy that must trigger within me the moment I sit down. And if it is not so, then that is not meditation, that is not yoga. This misunderstanding needs a correction. Meditation is merely a procedure to acquire that evolution which is through yoga, the enjoyment, but it cannot happen to a being in longevity, in true sense, unless there is purification at one's deepest ends. With the impurities you can fool yourself, you can experience transitionary phases on your mind, on your mental plane, that appear to be ecstasy, appear to be enchantment, blissful joy, but you would again, with all resilience, come back to the same conduct. Unless there is a correction in the way you respond, unless your constitution undergoes a reform, evolution does not happen. One may remain oblivion to this fundamental even for several lives and get immersed into ecstasy. That is why mostly the drug abuse, etc., is more prevalent with those people who are not able to acquire ecstasy, the true ecstasy, by removing all impurities from one's own self. They try to enthuse and infuse that artificial ecstasy through certain factors which are never there to stay. So please, whosoever is a true seeker on the path of evolution must correct the understanding about meditation and yoga. Something which is transitionary is also resilient, will take you back. This does not mean that true ecstasy does not exist. True ecstasy exists, but that would only manifest or dawn when all impurities have begone. They have just left the human. When there are no impurities left, then ecstasy becomes the nature, the ordinary nature of that being. And that is when we call them as the exalted ones. Who are the exalted ones? They are the ones in true ecstasy where there is no impurity left at all. No karmic accumulation is there. Everything has dissipated. But to acquire such states, one has to go through the procedure of purification. With impurities within, one cannot acquire true ecstasy. You can befool your mind in a transient manner. You can become pretentious, depicting to be ecstasy. But the moment you come out towards the challenges of the world outside, again you are thrown back to the realism where you confront, and the most abrupt dichotomy of the life starts when you have experienced a transient ecstasy and then you come back to the realism and you're not able to confront it, that's when you're shattered. Mostly people have borrowed the pretentious aspects of ecstasy and superimposed it upon their external lives, and it does not stay. That is why inconclusiveness remains, disharmony remains, a discontent remains in the life. Whereas true ecstasy comes to the exalted ones where all impurities have gone, and that would only come when you focus upon yourself, you concentrate upon yourself through your own ability to respond. When you graduate, evolve, reform your abrupt reactions into apt and appropriate response. With the regulated mind, niyat manasaha, atmanam yogi niyat manasaha. That's when the true meditation happens. Because meditation is not merely an exercise, it's not an interlude that has to be experienced for a limited tenure only while sitting in cross-legs posture and closed eyes. No. Meditation has to prolong, it has to engulf, its impact, its influence has to cover one's entire day, one's entire observation, one's entire occurrences. That is meditation. It's not something that you really go into the gym, exercise for a while and then come back. You may be sitting down for meditation for about 20 minutes or 30 minutes, does not matter. What matters is that its influence is now there to color your entire seat of awareness. And that's why Atmanam Yogi Niyat Manasa. Focus upon yourself, check yourself, find out yourself, the way you respond or react abruptly. Is it not easy? Yes, it is easy. It's very easy to focus upon one's own self. It's very easy to elevate oneself with slight observation. What is? Without any bias. Your self-evaluation or introspection or analysis has to be without any bias, without any discount, as it should be, as it is. And if you are able to find out the impurity, you come with entire force to correct it. Whether you are able to succeed or not does not matter. But you should be relentlessly upon correcting yourself. Even if the correction does not come into form for 10 years, does not matter. What matters most is your relentless, undying will, which is after it to remove the contamination, the impurity within. The verse further goes, Shantim Nirvana Paramam Mat Sanstham Adhigacchati. It has a mention to the word Shanti. It says that one acquires the state of Shanti, that extreme emancipation, the ultimate emancipation would be right word than extreme. Because Shanti is the true nature of a being. And any kind of a layering, a coating upon it is Ashanti. All disturbances, all imbalances, all distortions are Ashanti. And Shanti is not something again which is transitionary. If you are sitting for a while or if you have undergone a state of meditation, whether by chanting Om or whatever, and you come back and there is a stillness within you, everything is just harmonized, that is not true Shanti, because that is again transitionary. You would again be now vulnerable to the impacts of distortion of the challenges outside. True Shanti is the true existential nature of the being, which is devoid of any kind of a layering or contamination of any kind. Like, what is the true nature of the sun? Light energy and nothing else. Likewise, the true nature of a being within, the self within, is Shanti and nothing else. And nothing else. One acquires the state. Great masters have mentioned under the text, as when I undergo the preparation to teach any single verse, I have to understand the minds of several great masters through their text. Several masters have made a mention that this line also means that one who has been able to evolve to that extent, one who has been able to remove impurities within by self-analysis, by concentrating on oneself, acquires such a state where one almost becomes like a god. Nirvana paramam, almost becomes like a god. Mata sanstham adhigacchati. Adhigacchati means one who has now acquired, one who has been given to such a state. Which state? Where one becomes like the Creator itself. Like, if not the entirety, but like the Creator itself. That ultimate levels of evolution, that emancipation, where the exalted beings become the Creator itself. I can only approximate these words, through these words, the state which the great master has mentioned. Of course, the true taste of the mango is in tasting, but till the moment we acquire that eligibility of the mango, we have to approximate it, because generally it is observed that those who taste it, in general they do not come back to express their observations. There they term it as inexpressible, something which you cannot express, something that cannot be converted into words, such a chaste experience of the highest kind, where expression falls too short to do a justice. In the capacity of a teacher, we can just try to make mentions through approximating words. So this particular verse is a landmark one, because it resolves the dichotomy, the dilemma of all those seekers who have not been able to ascertain a particular objective of the meditation. For them, Atmanam, come down to yourself, unravel yourself, analyze yourself through each passing day. Try to make the necessary corrections where you understand through your wisdom that you were supposed to aptly respond, but you abruptly reacted. This small correction in your own self is ultimately going to take you to the threshold of emancipation. Small corrections into the conduct of a human beings lead to big changes, big achievements. One cannot be oblivion, one cannot underscore these vital aspects, be it spiritualism, be it behavior, communication, or handling matters in life. Small observations, cautiously managed and handled with all vigilance and awareness, lead to great outcomes. So does this. More to come in the next verse. This live classroom is broadcast on every second and last Sunday of each month at 9:30 in English. Till then, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om.